Today it's a great day for me to celebrate the Christmas Eve in Pune. Pune is called as Punyapattanam in our ancient books. That means this is a place which is very holy, place of we can say it is the city of holiness. And here to celebrate the birthday of Jesus is something so sensible, so correct, so proper. Because he was nothing but punya. He was nothing but holiness. And that his birthday should be celebrated here is absolutely so sad that I started feeling, going back in the history, if Christ was born in Pune, what would have happened? But then I thought, supposing he was born here, then people all over the world would not have accepted him because he had to be crucified. If he was not crucified, the sadists won't be happy. If they are not happy, they won't allow Christianity to spread. In the real sense of the word, I mean the Christianity. With all understanding, he was born in Jerusalem. It was a humble place, Jerusalem, very humble place. And he was born in a very humble place, as you know, in the company of the cattle around him. And the whole birth took place in such a miraculous way that mother didn't have to suffer for that. Didn't have to go to any doctor or to any physician or anything. It was so spontaneous, so beautiful. He gave no trouble to mother throughout. His birth is one of the signs that he never gave any trouble to his mother. When we are in Sahaja Yoga, when we have to have a realization, perhaps people do not realize how much mother has to go through to raise the Kundalini, to achieve the realization. It's not an easy thing. He never argued with his mother. And he never troubled her. Always obeyed her. Because he knew who she was. And he knew what he was. He knew the relationship very well. Knew in the sense that it was a part and parcel of his understanding. In his Dharma system he knew it. As we say, he had the prabodh. And so from the very beginning, when he was born, he was no trouble to his mother at all. Extremely obedient, kind, never pressing his time, always looking after. Very protective. Such a great soul was born in Jerusalem. And there, what happened? Bethlehem, he was born near Jerusalem. But there, what happened? As you know, the three kings came from far off. Nobody knew about his birth in the surroundings, say in the Jerusalem area or Bethlehem area. Nobody bothered. But from very far off, three great kings came to see him. It's very symbolic that to the people who were nearer, closer to him, it was nothing. They were so gross. They had no sensitivity. And from miles away, they started walking, coming on the camel, sometimes resting in the night, days in and days out. They traveled with the help of the star and came to that little abode which was in Bethlehem. In a small little place to arrive with that humility. How sensitive they must be. They forgot their position in life, they forgot their own wealth and all those things they have been enjoying. To them, it was the greatest thing, the greatest pilgrimage to go all the way to see the little child who was not talking, he was not doing anything. They felt it's a privilege to honor him, just to honor him, just to pay him honor. What was the need? The little child would not even recognize. He did. That's a different point. But just to pay the honor, they must have gone through very great difficulties to go down to Bethlehem. It was not a city, it was a village where there was no place for them to rest. God knows where they stayed. They had no hotels like this in those days. God knows where they stayed. They dressed up very well because they have to see the King of Kings. They were properly dressed with great humility. They bowed before the little child. That's only possible if you are that sensitive, at that distance to know that there's a great soul born. Thank God it was not Kali Yuga of that kind, and that is today. That the sensitivities in the Kali Yuga are so finished that people can't feel the divinity. They cannot see the divinity. They have no sense of beauty. They have no sense of anything that is pure, holy, or auspicious. Spontaneously, Sahaj, they all came down to see the great child born. Because it was the work of the divine to create such a great child just out of the punyas, nothing but punyas, nothing but holiness, that this child was created. And that they knew about it, they came all the way. Today is such a great day for me. That in that place where people were so gross, nobody knew what Christ was. Child was born in a manger. And today in this great holy place, we are celebrating his birthday. This is a real honor. We are paying to him. By that we are honored. It's a great privilege that in this holy place we are giving him that honor. It's our privilege. By that he doesn't become great. He doesn't become great. It's you who are honoring him because you see the greatness in that personality. Thank God human beings have at least this much, little bit left in them, that they appreciate the greatness of others, little bit. So you all have come from so many countries here, from all over, not with those difficulties, of course. They have been all put right. Not with ordeals or anything. But you are here to celebrate his birthday in this holy place, which should have been the right place for him to be born, and not that horrible place where he was crucified later. It's doubly glorifying that we are celebrating his birthday here. Though even this city is very much spoilt in the Kali Yuga, very much ruined, but is surrounded by the vibrations of many saints who have built up this city. That's why it is called as a Pune Nagari. And anybody who tries to spoil the vibrations of this place is thrown out. This you have seen in many cases. Though we can see lots of negative forces have tried to penetrate inside this place. Your presence here should clear this city also and create that atmosphere that Christ would like to see on this earth. He said that Christ is to be born within us. What sort of a place we have in our heart for Christ to be born? Is it the same gross place where he took his birth? Or is it the place of holiness in our heart? If he is being born in the same sort of a place, are we going to again crucify him? Or we are going to make our heart clean, holy, auspicious, like a lotus, so that when he is born in that heart, he resides in a way that is behoving his own personality. When we respect ourselves, we respect him. Let us have a heart of that kind. It's very easy to give a lecture on this. Very easy to give lecture. But it's difficult to establish that heart. And that heart, which is of that level and that quality, can only make Christ happy. Otherwise, he cannot be happy. We still indulge into gross processes and gross understanding, gross relationships, gross procedures. We still do not take to the holy procedures. In the holy procedure, there is no sacrifice. Is a sacrifice. Everything is enjoyment. No duty is without joy. Everything you do has to be from the heart. Because you are doing from the heart, it has to be a beautiful thing. It's very easy to say that we follow Christ. What do you follow? Are you going to follow him up to the cross? Where are you following? Which part of his life you are following? You are all realized souls. You are born again. As Christ has said, you are to be born again. All right, now you are born again. Then what are you doing about it? Cleanse your heart. Cleanse your heart. Then I still find there are jealousies. There is a problem of temperaments between different people. Still, groups are formed. We live in little groups of, say, this country, this group, that group. Then I find also people just fighting for little things, missing all the points of joy. This has to change. I do not want at this happy occasion to tell you the hazardous life Christ had to lead. He lived only for such a short time. The kind of life he led with all that he had is remarkable. And what a pure life he led. What a pure heart he had. And one single desire in his heart was to bring down the kingdom of God. That should be our desire. In our collective, we have to understand we have to bring down the kingdom of God. Are we sufficiently supporting that? Have we got the foundations within us? Can we withstand all that upon our shoulders? It is said in Marathi that forgiveness is the decoration of a Veera. Veera is the brave. Only the brave could forgive. Now, how many of us really know how to forgive others and to love others? So many write that, Mother, my heart is like a stone. So now you jump in the sea. What are you doing here? Stones must go to the sea. Or they say, my heart is not open. I say, why do you write like this? Because I'm very, very frank and honest. With whom are you honest? For such people, there is no Saj. They should really leave Saj Yoga and go away. Saj Yoga is meant for people who have a very large heart, where Christ could be adored. He is to be bestowed upon that great heart of yours. In every way, one has to enlarge the heart. That's why I think William Blake very clearly said England should be the Jerusalem. But only by saying that William Blake said so, one should know that it's complete darkness. Complete darkness. He's hoping against hopes. Large-heartedness is missing among the people who live on the heart. As you know about the French, they call themselves Christians. Italians who have so-called Christianity have the worst pictures. So licentious, so horrible, so much against vice. It's very surprising how we can do such things to bring bad name to him and to the whole world where you represent him. People think Christianity means licentiousness, permissiveness, drunkenness, abandonment of all the values. While Christ was just the opposite of it. Absolutely. He did not need any values. He was gunatit, he was dharmatit, everything. But how he lived on this earth, such an ideal. So before us, we have got a great ideal. We don't have to follow the ideals of these horrible kings who lived there. We have to follow the ideal of Christ and those kings who followed the ideal of Christ. Because if you are following him, the part that you are following has to be the essence of Christ's life is a pure life of love and sacrifice. This is what one has to follow. Throughout his life, he has been using this essence just to establish himself in our Agya Chakra. And that's what is worked very, very hard to do that. Let us not do anything to let him down in our character. You just put a test to yourself. Do you think Christ would have done this? Do you think Christ would have accepted this? A simple test can tell you that Christ is the measuring rod for all our qualities. That is how we move. That's the standard. Not that he is only the light, that he is the Nirakara, he is Omkara, he is Sri Ganesha. But all that has come to life. He lived like us, like a human being. And in his life, what he would never have done, would have never compromised, would never have accepted, would never have digested. We cannot have it. This is what today, on this holy land of Punyapatanam, we have to say. Sitting down here, we have to feel it. Let's have that decision within ourselves. Let our hearts open out Let's have Christ blossoming in our lotuses, in the fragrance of our heart. We all have it. Let that spirit be awakened in this beautiful place which is built by the saints, the ancient saints of this country. Let that Ganesha awaken within us, that holiness, that auspiciousness.
Regarding today's great advent of Sri Jesus Christ, I told them that he came on this earth with a very great mission. I would say one of the greatest vision, because he wanted to open the Agya Chakra, which was so constricted and could not be done before. For that he had to sacrifice his life. By that sacrifice only, the great Agya could be opened. He was aware of it. He knew that it has to happen, that he has to somehow accept this sacrifice. As it is, he was a divine personality. He had no problem in doing so, but he thought that could be some other way there by which you can open this Agya Chakra. But he had to sacrifice his life. And in that sacrifice, he has shown that if you have to rise above this mundane, superficial life, you have to, in a way, sacrifice. Sacrifice what? Sacrifice all your 6 enemies. But with the Kundalini awakening, all these 6 enemies completely get detached. Depends on how your Kundalini has risen. If she has risen in a perfect manner, then I've seen people at the first shot, they just become completely self-realized. Of course, there are very few, but they have been. While I see most of you have little problems, and for most of you it is the problem of the Agya Chakra. How do we get the Agya Chakra working so much is this, that we think as a reaction to anything outside. We react to everything. I see here all these lamps. I can react by saying, from where did they get all these? How much it must have cost? Where are they kept all the year round? All kinds of things. I can react. This reaction comes from our conditioning or from our ego. Egoistical people are extremely sensitive. If you give them, say, something that they think is not very dignified, they can feel hurt. They can feel hurt for anything, because they have a consciousness that they are something special, something higher people, and one should behave with them when they are dealing with anyone. And that's how they get absolutely disturbed if they find anybody in any way degrading them. This comes from ego. Ego is a part and parcel of the Agya movement. And the second one is your conditioning. Now you have a conditioning. Say you are an Indian. Now the conditioning is that a person who comes to meet you should touch your feet, supposing. That's your relationship. And the person doesn't touch your feet, then you are angry. Anything like that which is your conditioning gives you an idea that you are being insulted or in any way you have not been respected, then you feel bad. The other reactions are of ego are like this. As I said, I see those lamps and I can say, why not I have it? Or if I have them, why will I give it to anyone? Ego reactions are there, or conditioning reactions are there. These two were to be finished, and that was done by the sacrifice of the life of Christ. Christ himself was a divine person. And a divine person is like the sea, because it remains at the 0 point, at the lowest point. It does all work from that point. It will make clouds, it will make rain, and when all the rivers are in space, they'll run into the sea. Because the sea remains at the lower point. So humility is one of the criteria of a Sahaja. A person who doesn't have humility cannot be called Sahaja. I have seen even Sahajogis get very angry. Sometimes start shouting and getting angry and misbehaving. That's the sign that he is not yet a Sahajogi, he has to still match. So, this humility of a person will give you more stationary, I would say, more permanent state by which you will not react. You will not react. You look at anything, you react. But then you don't react, you just watch. And that is how the new state, or witness state, comes into. When you become the witness, you are just watching. Just watching. Not reacting, not thinking about it, but you are in the present. And in the present you just watch. Watch and really enjoy it. The enjoyment of all the creation is not within your mind when you are thinking. And when you are not thinking, the whole enjoyment of the beauty of all this creation reflects in you and gives you tremendous joy and peace. So one has to learn that we should not react. The today's problem is all human beings are very good at reacting. Reaction is the basic principle of today's life. See any newspaper, you see any book, you meet anyone, what I find that they are experts on reacting. They react. And by reaction, what happens? They never achieve any essence of the thing. Essence is only through witness state that you can achieve. This is what we have to learn from the crucifixion of Christ, from his birth, that he was born in a very humble family, very poor family, in very adverse conditions. The reason was to show that all these outward things and all these outward glories do not make you great. The greatness is within, and when that greatness is there, then you don't care for it, because you are so much enriched within yourself that you don't bother about other things. You don't think about these things. And you live in your own majestic life. This is what we see in his life. He was a very majestic person. Otherwise, if you meet somebody who is a poor man, say, and who has felt the poverty, he'll talk to you with a beggarish style. If there's somebody who is born in a rich family, he will talk to you in a very, I should say, outwardly showing off nature. But a person who is a divine person, all these things don't touch. For him, riches or not riches, positions or no power is all just the same. And when that happens, then you should consider that you have become service. I have seen people who come to Ganapatipule. Now they are very much changed. Otherwise, in the beginning, they used to say, we don't have water, we don't have this facility, it's very cold or hot, whatever it is. They were all the time talking as if they are on a holiday. It is something very different. You are here to develop your witness state. Did you see the sky? How beautiful it was. How orange, blue, all kinds of colors were. The color it takes automatically and is enjoying it. It is not bothered that it should remain forever, that this will go away when there is darkness. Just watch it. The sky is just watching. Whatever comes its way, it takes it. So, it's so beautiful and it's so joy-giving. So the another thing is that when you are in that state of spirituality, then you are joy-giving, you are peace-giving, you are compassionate, and you love each other. All these problems of the ego just disappear. Ego is your greatest enemy, I think. And it is the one that really hinders all the wealth and beauty of your life. So if you could just see this ego, how it works, just you'll be enjoying it. It's a drama it plays. Alright? Let's have it. You can see the drama and then suddenly you will be amazed that you are not in it, you are watching it. When you are detached from your ego, you can see how it tries to entice you. These are the problems of today, and that's why we need Jesus very much. The problem of today is that people don't understand that how much harm they are doing to themselves, to others, and to the whole world by becoming egoistical. If they could understand, I tell you, they would give up. But the problem is, they enjoy that. They enjoy that kind of meanness, or I would say very low level living. While you are also yogis, what you have to do is to understand why this ego is coming in my head. What have I done? Who am I? Once you go on asking such questions, this ego will disappear. And it's a big problem for me also to deal with people who have ego, because I can't tell them you have got ego. If I tell them, they'll all run away. If I tell them, all right, you are very good, you are very nice, then ego will be bloated. Then they say, oh, mother told us I am very nice. It's very problematic. I don't know how to deal with the ego of human beings. I know they have, but I don't know how to deal with it. I think it's only you can deal with it if you will understand what's wrong with you. That's a very good way of solving your problem and my problem also. My vision is too great, I think, for one life. I want a global realization. I want people all over the world to have realization. It's very remarkable how In such culture, we have a proper training for getting rid of it. You can yourself introspect yourself. You can yourself see why you behave like this. The introspection that Sahaja-yogis can do cannot be done by other people, because they can enter into themselves, they can see for themselves, they can watch others, and with that they can just try to see what is this Mr. Ego doing within your head. Of course, we know that the mantra of Christ is the best for removing all egoistical problems. And that helps a lot. But also, when you are doing this mantra, you should be yourself in a very humble state. What am I, after all? Who am I? Look at so many stars, look at so many beautiful things. Who am I? What have I done? Why should I be so egoistical? Why should I think I am something great? And also other people pamper you because they want to take advantage of you. So they'll pamper you, they'll say, this is very great, you are very great. And you just get enamored, get lost. You are like thrown into the torrential rain and you flood out into big, I think, like a big stream of egoistical people. And if you see around today, in these modern times, everybody is quite conscious of their ego, very conscious. And the way they are coming up in the newspapers, or the way they are in some magazines, I'm quite amazed. I would feel shy to be there, because it's so much of expression of your ego, nothing else. All kinds of things they start. They have competition of ego, lots of competition. Like they have a beauty competition, then they have another competition for Mr. You can say India, Mr. this thing, that. All these things actually give the person ego, and others also run after such competitions. They think, why am I not? I should be like that. So it's very deadening and absolutely blinds your mind that you think this is the way one has to be very successful. This success lasts for how long? It perishes in no time. But success in Sahaja Yoga is what will last forever, and everybody will remember it. The one who has this kind of a humble nature will be remembered for generations. I have never seen a statue of a person who has been egoistical. On the contrary, if there was some, they used to criticize. He was a very egoistical man. And nowadays it's impossible. Anybody who has ego, I don't think anybody is going to sing any songs about such a person or going to raise any statues in there. So in the heart of hearts, we like humble people. And if we want others to like us, we should be also very humble. Not artificially, but really, by understanding that what are we? Why should we be proud? Why should we try to overpower others and trouble others? If you understand that, you have done full justification to the incarnation of Jesus Christ the Great. There are so many qualities he has shown, but for us the best is his passing through the ego, sacrificing his life, is the greatest message. And for that we have to understand. But those who call themselves are the most egoistic. I was surprised that English people are extremely egoistical. Or otherwise other countries also have seen in the West. They are very egoistic. There is no humility at all compared to Indians. They are very, very egoistical people. Why? Because they are following Christ. Can you imagine? Is this the way we follow Christ? Those who call themselves Christians and those who call themselves very great admirers of Christ should show in their life that humility, that compassion, that love. It is not so. So especially for people who are from Western countries, you must try to learn Sahaj culture. In a Sahaj culture, how do we talk, how do we live, how do we contact, is something very different. And then once you start Sahaj culture in your life, you'll be amazed. Others will be amazed how you are having rapport with each other, how you are looking after everything so well. This is the best way to live in this world as Sahajogis, where there is no ego, there is no condition, nothing. You are just absolutely free from all these horrible attributes. And then you will be amazed how people will trust you, how they will like you. I wish you all a very happy Christmas. And also remember the message of Christ and his life. May God bless you.